What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Big Ticket. I'm your host, Vick3, joined by my co-host, JerryLee. How we doing?
Doing good, man. I'm glad to be back, man. Been too long.
Definitely has been too long, and let me just address that. Yeah, we've been gone for I was just informed 3 weeks now. Yeah, man, just doing some things, dealing with some family issues, dealing with some sickness. I appreciate y'all for sticking with me and coming through today. But we got a great show for you guys. I wanted to come back, come good, and we're gonna have a good discussion. But first, let me start off and bring our guests. We're joined by the 72 100 second podcast, co-host. We got my guy, Coach Dante and Key in the building. Let's bring them on. Coach, how we doing today, sir?
Welcome on,
Man, I'm
family.
doing good, man.
Hi,
Just
Key.
got
How
to
we doing, Key?
Yo, what's going on,
Mhm.
y'all?
Good, good. And also, we are joined by my guy from the handoff. East Coast Gridiron Zone. We got Dante in the building. How we doing today, sir?
Hey, it's gonna be confusing. We got every time me and Coach are on the show, just call him Coach and call me Dante, or call him Dante and call me ECG. I don't know.
Yep.
We'll work
That's
it
the way
out.
I always do it. I always call him Coach, and you got Dante.
All right,
Although I know
that
a lot of
sounds
people
good to
still
me.
call you, they all automatically think you're just ECG. That's it.
Yeah, well, it's more than that, but
Yeah, right. There's levels. There's levels.
yeah, there's levels.
um, but before we start off, let me say what's up to the people that came through in the chat. Um, Stephen Joyce, what's up, my guy? Appreciate you for coming through. We see that you left a comment for Stephen. Thank you. And he responds was good. We also got the Hardcore Sports Network. We got AK Mitch out there doing his
Okay.
thing. Appreciate you, gentlemen. And if you haven't already, please go to their channel and subscribe. They're going to come out with a lot of good content, and it helps out. Also, we got my guy halftime. Appreciate you all for coming through. Um, how's
Word.
everybody doing?
Good, man. Good.
It's Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I
Yes,
can
like I
say.
said, man, it's been a while. I've been out for a little bit, but let's kick it off, man. We had a lot of good things in the news lately. We're just gonna focus on the Eagles right now. We're gonna get to some discussion because there's been a lot of news with Jalen Hurts over the offseason. You saw him working with Tom Thibodeau and the guys in Southern California. He's been taking his mechanics seriously, and he wants to build on that. But this week, Coach Sirianni, had some good comments for him. He sees a lot, and I just wanted to get to that first. Coach said, "I'm noticing a big difference in what I see. It's a crisper ball. The accuracy I'm very pleased with, and you can see him taking the strides every single day." Now, Dallas Goddard was also in the news, and he wanted to say some things about this. And he also said that he's decisive. He has zip on the ball, and his accuracy has improved, and he's determined to be great. So let me ask you all, and I'll start off with you, Jerry Lee, because we haven't discussed this in a while. What do you think about Jalen Hurts this offseason, his approach, and what they're saying now in OTAs?
Well, they're pretty much saying what I said all along. I mean, the guy, he's been determined to be great. That's his thing. He's the leader. We know who Jalen Hurts is, man, and we know he's gonna bring it. So it doesn't surprise me that they're saying these things about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Coach, what do you think about Jalen Hurts and his approach, and now the comments coming out, the good reports coming out on him?
like, of course, your coach is gonna say, a lot of good things about you and stuff in OTAs and train in OTAs, but I really don't take too a lot of stock in the OTAs. Really don't take a lot of stock into none of that as well. I just want to see it on the field, man. I mean, I know he's got great upside, but training camp and being on that actual field is what matters to me the most, more than OTAs does, more than having guys running around in a 7-on-7 when you have no helmet and no pads. But again, I mean, the guy is a great leader. He's won everywhere he was at. I just want to see everything come down on the football field, but I don't really take too much stock into really OTAs and stuff like that. But man, he got great determination as well. He wants to do it. He wants to improve, and that's good. A thing about him, he has an opportunity to do that this year. So we're gonna see, can he do it this year?
Definitely, we will. Key, what do you think about Jalen Hurts and the comments that Nick Sirianni and Dallas Goddard had for him?
I mean, of course, we all know Jalen Hurts wants to win. All the Eagles fans is ready to write him off so quick. Like I always say, it's not instant, and Rome is not built in a day. We can't just write off somebody all because of they're not doing something. You got to remember. I get it. He 4 games in his rookie season. This is his first full season as a starter. So yes, it's going to be some hiccups. Was there? Of course. Was he perfect the whole season? Of course not. But who is? So it's great that he wants to um, improve what his weaknesses are, which is his accuracy, his reading the defenses. For him to want to go to the GOAT himself to get that knowledge, I that's somebody that wants to definitely win. So we're going to see a better Jalen Hurts. Like I said, I really can't go off of 8 OTAs and training camp. We got to go off preseason too, because they do get their reps in preseason and when the regular season comes. This is when we're going to see it. So right now, I don't really focus on OTAs and say, "Oh, he's looking good." We don't know how he is. There's no pads on. He's not hitting nobody. He's no pressure. So we just have to really see when real time comes. But that's a great sign that he definitely wants to win and improve his craft.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And Dante, I'd like to hear what you say because you're the on the outside looking in. You're a Jaguars fan, but you follow the NFL, you follow these players. So, what do you think about Jalen Hurts? Because you've seen him in his first year, you've seen him come in late games. Was it the last 4 games? Then you see him in his first full season. Now you're seeing his approach this offseason and the glowing reviews so far. And just like everyone said, we all understand OTAs. Isn't game time. It's not that. It's not that serious at the moment. It's just basically everyone throwing balls around in shirts and shorts. But
Mhm.
you do see some differences in, like they said, the zip in the ball. He's more decisive. He's accurate. What do you think about Jalen Hurts so far?
So I mean, really and truly, I don't like to take anything with a grain of salt. Like from the players, especially from the players' perspective, maybe the coach is going to say all the right things. He's not going to come out and say, "Oh my gosh, Jalen Hurts has sucked this practice." It's really not his job. But you know, the players are what really matters to me. And not to get on the Carson Wentz train here, but I looked at a lot of the Commanders' practice and all the players saying everything really good about him so far. So it's like I don't take that stuff lightly. But again, they aren't in pads yet. And of course, this is what I've been saying in the offseason, even for the college players, when you see them do those long passes in practice, it's like everybody should be able to throw that pass, like the Malik Willis thing. Like that's not impressive to me because every quarterback that's getting drafted should be able to throw that far and that accurate of a pass. Like let's be real here, especially if you're being considered one of the best quarterbacks in college. And I know this is not about them, but it kind of relates over to with Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I guess he was just trying to find his way, right? He came in, started 4 games under Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson gets fired, then you get Nick Sirianni, and then he's learning a completely different offense, which that offense was terrible. I've said it before, 25 times under center is not anything that is making your offense very it just makes it very static. Like it's going to be easy to read these type of plays every single time when you have no variety in your offense, right? So, but people act like Jalen Hurts is like this inaccurate quarterback because if you go to college, like his last year at Oklahoma, he threw it like a 68% completion percentage or whatever. Even though he did have an offense that did cater towards the pass first, it's still, I mean, I've never, and I'm the biggest Jalen Hurts fan. A lot of people get the misconception that like I don't like Jalen Hurts. I thought he should have won Heisman that year because I thought he was the best player in the country. But I realized why the person who won, right? But
Mhm.
and on the other side of that, wide receivers don't get thrown the passes to. They don't throw passes to themselves. But if you looked at him in Oklahoma, he was very accurate. And it's just one of those things where it's like maybe he's just trying to find his way again. Like he already had the skill set there. So taking it serious in the offseason, knowing that Nick Sirianni is going to be his coach again, bringing A.J. Brown in, getting a little bit more of that, that chemistry back with Devontae Smith. And they're still trying to figure everything out. So, I mean, anybody's confidence would be shot going into a year where everything is completely new. I mean, let's be real about it. Nobody has this type of season. But on the other side of that, on the flip side, yes, this is technically, I think this is his second year. I always give people 3 years for evaluations. That's why I wasn't very high on Sam Darnold. And lo and behold, guess what? I was right about that experiment too when everybody was so high on him. You get 3 years to do what you need to do. To me, this is his second year. and we'll see if everything that he's been working on has been working on. But like I said, this has been the same accurate quarterback that we've been seeing. We saw it in college. He's just trying to find his way again. He might have stray off the beaten path, but he's trying to get back on track. So that's just how I feel about it. And I hope he has a good season. But everybody's seen my top 40 quarterback rankings. I have him like at 19 right now, which I think is respectable. And it's kind of like get your foot in the door to next year crack the top 15. The next year crack the top 10. They got enough weapons in place, but I still think the source part of his development is Nick Siriann, because I don't think that dude is a good coach right now. And his play calling is just very predictable. I mean, any of us could get on defense and know exactly what they're going to do next.
Yeah.
Play action, throw out a play action.
Yeah, the coach. The coach as well, he has to develop in his second season. But as for Jalen, I like the approach that he's taken on since he's been, the starting quarterback of this team. Like you said, with the last 4 games, he did a lot with what he had. And, he made some things work, and we've seen that there were some holes in his game. He came in last year for the first full season. Again, he didn't have a spectacular season, but you saw that, he had that base. So we all know what Jalen's floor is. Right now, what remains to be seen is what's his ceiling. I like the approach that he has to the game. I like how serious he's taking it. And one thing I wanted to get to, and I didn't mention it before because I think it just brings upon what's going on with Shane Steichen, what he had to say about Jalen. He said he doesn't take time off. He's a quarterback 365 days out of the year. I mean, that's someone who's constantly working on it. Not taking that time to go out to the club and do all that. It's just focusing on football and trying to get better as a player. And that's something that, let's be honest, Philadelphia never had. We never had a quarterback that would take that time and do that. We've had good quarterbacks, but we never had a quarterback with as much dedication as we've seen from Jalen Hurts. And again, I think it's intriguing to see, like I said, what's his ceiling? That's, I think, what's interesting for us now.
If I could jump in there and just comment about that, I think that's kind of a bad thing, to be honest, because he has to. I get right now he's early in his career and he has a lot to prove, so I give him a pass this year. But on the other side of that, people like Tom Brady, people like Ben Roethlisberger, people like the greatest quarterbacks of all time, they take an off season for themselves. The Aaron Rodgers of the world, like it's at some point you're gonna need to press the reset button before you jump into something new. So I hope this year, if he has a good year, if he has a decent year, if he's in that 19 spot like I think he's gonna be, press the reset button, man. Like you have a life too. Like all
definitely.
of us can sit here and talk about football all we want. I'm glad that he's so focused. I don't think anybody's questioning the acclimate of what Jalen Hurts is to his core. I think right now he just has a lot to prove with the things that are around him. But yeah, man, I mean, this year press the reset button. Take your time. It's the off season for a reason. It's great that you try to build chemistry with these guys, but there are times to do that type of stuff, and I just hope he takes that. That's what the veteran approach is. It's like, I know I'm the end all be all when it comes to the team, but when is it time for me to press the reset button on the PlayStation and start over?
Yeah, but I think for him, it's
You
kind of
got a
like
lot to
you
prove.
can't take a rest until you know that you're comfortable and you
Yep.
are that quarterback to be. If you
Yep.
still have a lot, like we said, we still have a lot of holes in your game. I don't have time to relax because I want to fix that. Once I get everything taken care of, then like you said, then I can hit that reset button. Then I can do what I want to do, or I could have some time off. But
Mm.
until then, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, he got a
I
lot to
agree.
prove, man. You know what I mean? So like he can't just like sit down until he get that contract, you know what I mean? And then, you know what I mean?
Well,
Then
let's hope that's not the time he wants to hit that reset
Oh
button.
no,
God,
I'm just
no.
saying
That's been the issue with a
in the
lot of
off
players.
season. In
To
the
me
off season.
personally, I think they gave Carson Wentz that contract too damn early. That's
Yeah,
just
they did.
me. I think they gave it to him too early. He had that one more year to prove, and then we could have gave him that money. But that was Howie.
Yeah. Hey, BLS, you just to answer. I talked about at the top of the show. Sick, a little sick now, but hey, we're powering through it. It's not that bad right now. But yeah, man, I think it is true. He has to take it at both ends. You want to work to be the best, but at the same time, you don't want it to be the whole focus because that after a while that will catch up to you.
Burnout, man. Burnout is a real
Exactly.
thing with even with us and our normal
Everything.
jobs every single day. Like even from the podcast stuff, like I had to take a break. It's like let me stop and reset because your motivations change when you're burnt out. Your whole outlook on things just change, and you don't want him to lose that love for the game. by telling them like, you got something to prove this year, Jalen. So work, 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 work.
Yeah.
And I know, let's take a step back here. I'm not saying this is how you guys are, but we know how the Philly community is when it comes to their players. Like that's already pressure itself to perform well every single year. So it's like, let's just pump the brakes a little bit. I understand why you're going hard right now. He's a young player. I totally get why he's doing it right now. But if he has a run of the mill year next year where people are like, okay, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, pump the brakes a little bit, Jalen, and then get back to it. We're not doubting that this dude is a hard worker. I mean, at this level, I think it's funny that we talk about like the scale of people, right? It's like this guy works harder than this guy, but it's like really and truly these guys are professional. They're supposed to be working equally as hard as as everybody to get. They did it all their lives. They should be doing that same thing over and over and over. And that's just us being subjective. But yeah, I just hope he at least puts the reset on this year and becomes a human being. These guys are human beings at the end of the day too. And we can't forget that. Everybody talks about the mental health thing, and everybody has their opinions on that. But yeah, for his mental health and for his for him just not to get burnt out, man, because all of us need a vacation. All of us do.
Yeah. But one of the reasons why he's probably working so hard is because since high school, Hurts hasn't been in the same offensive system. Through high school, college, he had to go to two different universities, and then coming to the NFL, having that issue with Doug Peterson and now moving on to Nick Sirianni. So let me ask the question. I'll start off with you, Coach. How much do you think it'll help Jalen Hurts being in the same offensive system in consecutive seasons?
Oh, it's definitely gonna help him out a lot this year because you don't have you get to see the same face. Oh, you get to see the same face. You don't have to worry about a coach getting fired and another coach coming back in. Now you got to fill the void of him. Now a different playbook. All of a sudden, when you get every time you get a new coach, they're gonna want to bring their own coaches in. They're gonna want to bring their own offensive coordinator, or sometimes he's gonna be the play caller. So you don't want Jalen Hurts to see different faces every single season. You want him to see the same face like a Nick Sirianni that came along last year that realized hey, I need to use the running game a lot more. Earlier during the season, I think it was more Nick Sirianni last year tried to outscore people. And when you don't have really the quarterback that can really kind of like Jalen Hurts arm, sometimes he will underthrow passes. He would throw balls in the dirt because when you're dropping back 30 or 40 times like that, that's a lot of stress on your arm. Now you're running the football. You got the best offensive line in the game. You're running the football. That makes Jalen Hurts' arm relax. Now his arm got a lot of life and a lot of strength under it that you took a lot of pressure off of because you was throwing it about 40 and 50 times with him and realizing, hey, we got to get to our bread and butter is that running game. So again, seeing the same face is very good for Jalen Hurts, and I think it can help him out this year. Not just seeing a different face on the offensive side of the ball, and now I have to go back to square one and adjust to this guy and adjust to the play calling and change of the offense and stuff like that. So it'll be it's good to always for any quarterback to see the same guy, and stuff, especially someone young like him that's been through a lot in college and stuff, going from Oklahoma, going from Alabama to Georgia. And I was happy for Jalen Hurts because actually they booted him out of Oklahoma and out of Alabama. He takes Oklahoma to the college football playoff. Alabama doesn't make it to the college football playoff that year. And so that was bittersweet to him. For him as well. So it's very important for him this year to see the same face and not have to adjust to another coach. And now that's going to change the offensive play calling, and that's going to bring his own coaching staff in. And now it's a whole square one thing. You gotta adjust to that offense and adjust to that coach.
Yeah, having that playbook open, 2 years in a row is really good, and being able to throw to the same players and handing off to the running backs and all that, that really does help for having 2 years in a row, for once. So
yeah,
I think it's going to show a big difference.
Key, what do you think? Jalen Hurts being with the same offensive system 2 years in a row, how much do you think that'll help him out?
Yeah, no, definitely will help him. Like y'all, like Dante, like Coach pointed out, he's not having to get readjusted to somebody else's playbook and having to learn all over again. So him being in a constant system he was last year is good. Um, now that Steichen is going to be taking over the plays, he's going to definitely know his strengths and weaknesses and what he can do and what he can't do. I think we'll still use that running game now that he know that it was successful. We all saw what happened when the running game was successful. It took less off of Jalen Hurts because you got a good running game. It sets up the passing game. He doesn't have to throw that much. So it's definitely a good offensive system that he's in it consecutively again. Just the mental psyche, like, all right, I don't have to learn nothing new. I already know it. I'm going to go out there and execute it. And suppose that if we got a whole new coaching staff, then this will be year one all over again.
Yeah. Dante, what are your thoughts?
Man, I mean, I think any type of consistency makes anybody better at the end of the day. The more you're familiar with something, the better it is. Through and
Repetition.
through. Yeah, repetition is everything, man. Like, none of us, I mean, it's just like being a baby, right? Once you first start learning how to talk, you have to continuously talk and talk and talk and talk. Or when you learn a new word, you have to use that word in different sentences to really understand how it's being used. So, that might be a poor example, but I'm just trying to say, at the end of the day, the same amount of times that you can throw. I'm just taking it back from a quarterback's perspective because I played quarterback all my life. Whenever there's a new guy on the team or a guy that I'm not familiar with because I don't throw to him all the time, and he starts to become the focus on the play call or many plays throughout our offense, I have to be prepared to know, okay, Ricky's going to run a out route, but I have to know his timing every single time that he does that, and I have to anticipate where he's going to be when I throw that ball. And that might be different when he runs a route than if I had Vic running that same route. So that repetition and everything is very crucial. Not only to learn timing, to learn cadences, to learn, when you're watching tape on defenses, because defenses, they all play different depending on the player when they close in on the play. Like, all this stuff matters. The one constant is he's playing in the NFC, the NFC East, which is I think is the most interesting division in football because you just don't know what's going to happen every single year. And the pieces move so many different ways. So he already has his work cut out for him there.
Chessboard.
Not saying, yeah, it's definitely a chessboard. I mean, now James Bradbury's on your team. Now you don't have to worry about him, on the Giants defense. But now what screws you up is you got to worry about the next guy that's got to step up in his place that's going to play completely different than him.
Yep.
So, I totally agree. Like, consistency helps anything that you do. But you have to be aware of the unknown as well. That's the only thing. Because what you went into last year is not going to be the same as what you are going into this year, and that's up to the coaching staff to prepare you for that. I don't think that's necessarily on Jalen's.
Situational football, man.
Yeah, that's not on Jalen's shoulders. His thing should be read defense, throw the ball, make sure your guy's in the spot where he's going to be. And that's a team effort at the end of the day. And I'll always harp that. This is a team sport. It's not, I can't look at, you kind of look at the full picture. Jalen stats are what his stats are going to be. And we all like stats to a certain extent. And maybe I'll carry those more than anything else. But the full picture is what you really have to look at. Okay, so he did this, but really what was the situation around him? That's why I'll always have an argument for Daniel Jones because of his situation that's around him. But yeah, consistency is everything, man. It's literally everything in the game of football. I mean, look at Tom Brady. He was under the same offense for 18 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, most of those quarterbacks that you see out there that do perform well and they are good quarterbacks are because of that. They're in the same system for many years, and they end up molding them systems to the best of their abilities. And Peyton Manning's the best example of that. When he went to the Broncos, he totally changed their offense. He basically bring over the Colts offense over, and then with him and Mike McCoy, I believe, they ended up strategizing on what Peyton's strengths were, and that became the Broncos offense. But yeah, that
remember when Ndamukong Suh, I forget what team he went to, and he was like, I don't want to play in the 3-4. I want to play in the 4-3. I forgot what team he was like in between the Lions and when he got to the Buccaneers. But it's like scheme matters, man.
Was it the Rams? I know he was the Rams.
Probably was the Rams.
Yeah, it was the Rams.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't really like this anymore. You know, people like what they like, and they know how well they're going to perform. So, you know, that matters as well.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely. Well, let me ask you all. We've had a pretty good offseason this year. We made a trade in the draft for AJ Brown, formerly of the Titans. He's came over. We all know the relationship he has with Hurts. But let me ask this: has the addition of AJ Brown increased expectations for Jalen Hurts? I'll start off with you, Keith.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'll start off with you, Keith.
It definitely is. He has no excuses. I feel like now. You added Pascal, good slot receiver type. Got Devontae Smith, got Goddard. You got the running backs that can catch out the backfield. You got AJ Brown. I feel like there shouldn't be any issues on offense. I feel like this is his season. So it is a lot of pressure on him, knowing he did get another receiver to help out Smith. So this is going to be his time. So it is some pressure on him there. So yeah, he does have high expectations now.
Yeah, definitely. Dante, what do you think? Has the addition of AJ Brown increased the expectation for Hurts?
I'm never a big fan of relying on somebody else coming to your offense and increasing the expectation on how that player is going to play. But I've seen what I've seen with AJ Brown with Tennessee, and I think a lot of people think I'm like an AJ Brown hater, and I'm not. I'll be the first one to defend the guy. The dude had 2 torn knees last year, or not last year, the year before last year, and got surgery after the season. Still made the Pro Bowl, had 1,000 yards. So it's like, I'm not. If you're talking about the toughest receiver that's probably out there, you guys have that. You guys know that he's not going to give up just because he's hurt, even with the some of the most extreme injuries. I think it does. For the look at the fact, and I think me and you talked about this, Vic, a couple months ago. It was, I think, if you draft somebody like Devontae Smith, he's definitely your deep threat because he's not. I'm sorry, he's just not the shake and bake guy on the intermediate routes. He's not going to get open that way unless it's just one guy is just completely off. Where he strives is breaking off deeper down the field and getting open. Now you have AJ Brown who can pretty much do anything in the middle of the field, in those short and intermediate routes and get you yak yardage. Right, that's where his bread and butter is. Then you have Dallas Goedert who's just going to be open in the middle of the field completely. So with that being said, and your running back room is pretty deep. Say what you want; those guys are averaging 4.5, 4.6, 5 yards a carry. You guys just need to figure out who it's going to be. But you guys are not. Your running back room is nothing to scoff at. All those guys are good in their own right, and I think people are very undervalue that a lot. So with all that being said, man, the offensive line is number 1 in the NFL. Don't care what anybody says; it's number 1 until proven otherwise. The expectation for Jalen Hurts, even outside of having AJ Brown, yes, this is one of those. If you fail, outside of the play calling, which I think needs to improve, but realistically, if you fail at the line of scrimmage, it's your own fault. You have way too many weapons to help you out this year, and but again, I'm all about giving it a year to mesh with all these new weapons because AJ Brown is new. I don't care about the relationship outside of this. It's cool that you guys play backyard football. My dad was the best receiver that I had all my life playing catch with him. You know what I'm saying? Like it just is what it is. So
It's got to translate.
Mm-hmm. It's got to translate when you play. And AJ Brown played in the AFC South the whole time. It's different. You're going to a completely different division where you haven't played these guys twice a year. So, and that's for the other side of the ball too. That's for the defense. Like they got to learn to play against AJ Brown as well. So
Yeah.
I hope the chemistry's there. But yeah, I think it increases the expectations a little bit if you're looking at the full picture. I don't necessarily think like AJ Brown is like. You have to zone in on him and say, oh, he has to do good because of this one piece. But it helps. It definitely helps.
I'm glad that you kind of were talking about that. It is different over here. That rivalry is real. You know what I mean? Between our teams. That shit is really real, them players, once you're on the field, they ain't liking each other so much.
I mean, yeah, the AFC South is not like, coach is in the same division with the Texans. Like, Jaguars, Texans, Jaguars, Colts, Jaguars, Tennessee. Like, I mean, Jaguars, Tennessee is probably like the biggest rivalry, to be honest. But nobody's looking at the game circling like, oh my God, you got to watch the Jacksonville and Titans game this week. No, people are circling the Philadelphia versus the Cowboys game, Philadelphia versus the Redskins, the Dallas versus the Redskins, or the Commanders now. But yeah, those are the games that you're circling, man. Nobody cares about the AFC South. Let's be real about that.
Coach, let me get your thoughts. Have expectations increased? Oh, we lost Coach.
Somebody pulled the plug on him.
Oh, who would have done such a thing? But let me get back to what you were saying, Dante, because you made a good point when you were, listing all the weapons that the Eagles have. We have Devontae Smith. We have Dallas Goedert. We talked about the plethora of running backs. Now you have A.J. Brown. Can Jalen Hurts be able to spread the ball around? You know what I'm saying? Will he be able to do that? I'll start off with you.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, if Nick Sirianni does not scheme to have this as a three look offense, and what I mean by that is Smith might be the primary, AJ might be the secondary, and Dallas might be the the third guy. Like, this needs to be a progression type of offense, because you know why? Because you had the best offensive line in the league. There should be no excuse why he can't go through his progressions this year. Absolutely not. And he has a pair of legs on him. I would say do this. Jalen, if I had to tell you anything, if he was watching this, watch Russell Wilson's tape. And I know a lot of people had the discussion. We had this discussion, who's a scrambling quarterback? And I think being a scrambling quarterback is more than just getting yardage after you're running. It's how mobile are you? How can you make the throws on the run? Can you do this type of stuff? Like, trust in that. He did it all in college. Like, this is the one thing that made Jalen Hurts wonderful, is because he loved throwing the ball first if he had to, and then he could kill you with his legs. And he's a big kid, man. I mean, Cam Newton is like the pinnacle of big quarterbacks. Like, let's be real about it. Yeah. Jalen is a big dude, man. Like, he's not going to get hurt. And you could be a little bit flexible on how you are with him. So I think, for Nick,
he is thick.
Let him breathe.
Well, I don't know if anyone noticed. He's slimmed down. He's not as bulky as he was last season. He's lost a lot of bulk. He's distributed in other ways, but he's lost a lot of bulk.
Yeah, I've seen that picture. So, but I mean, really and truly, he's still a big guy, and he's got a huge arm. And I just hope Nick says this to him. You know who I think would be a perfect coach, even though I think, realistically, like, he's not really a good coach at the end of the day when you look at his record. But if you look at how he deals with his players and how much faith he has in his players, is Ron Rivera would be really good for somebody like Jalen Hurts, because he'd be like, you know what? I'm going to treat you just like I did Cam. Do your thing. I don't think Nick is necessarily like that.
Yeah. I have my issues with Ron Rivera. I think he's a very good coach, but I think with Cam specifically, he let Cam do too much. That's
Cam didn't know how to put a cap on it.
Yeah, like he had to understand where you can't just constantly be calling quarterback run plays. You're going to kill your quarterback. And Cam hasn't been the same since that Super Bowl. And even after that, when he had that shoulder injury, it took him a while to get back. And that's all because Ron just let him do what he had to. At a certain point, your coach got to pull the reins a little bit. That's the thing with a good coach, with a quarterback. You got to know when to pull the reins. You got to know when to let him go.
Cam's ego killed him all day. Cam's ego killed him, and it didn't help that you had Ron Rivera that was like, okay, just make a play. Yeah. But on the other end, if he had Jalen Hurts knows when to slide and run out of bounds and stuff like that. He's not going to be the bigger than life kind of guy. He would, he would work better under somebody like Ron Rivera. But man, Carson might get hurt because Ron's going to be like, hey, do your thing.
Yeah, they have a lot going for them. And, Commanders, they're going to have their time. Like I said before, we talked about it in the chat. As long as the Commander fans are happy, let them be that. Wherever the chips fall where they may during the season, we're not there yet. But for right now, they have their enthusiasm. They see Carson Wentz being their leader. Let their fan base have their happiness for now.
They'll have more wins this year than they did last year.
I think they will. I think Carson Wentz is a competent quarterback. I don't think he's horrible, but I do think that, he does make bad decisions. And sometimes his ball, like when he throws the ball, like First of all, his release is ridiculous. I hate it. His whole delivery is slow. Kind of reminds me of Byron Leftwich, but not that slow. And it's just he doesn't have that downfield accuracy. He got a lot of credit for it, but that was when he had Alshon Jeffrey going out his way trying to make spectacular catches. That
Big
helped
target.
Carson out a lot. You had Dallas Goddard. You had Ertz doing everything they can to get that ball. If it wasn't for them, Carson's accuracy would go down a whole lot.
Facts.
But Key, let me get your thoughts. With all this talent we have on offense now, on paper, let me just say that first. On paper, do you think Jalen's going to be able to spread the ball around, spread the love?
You better be able to.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you got too many weapons not to go through all your progressions before you decide to do something else. If Smith's not open, then you got AJ. If AJ somehow not open, then you have one of the other receivers, whether it's Quez or Zach. If Dallas isn't open, then take off, or one of your running backs. Whether it's Sanders, Gainwell, whoever in there. If they're not there, then you can take off. Like that was his big. I think that was his big issue last year was he didn't read all of his progressions, and then he just decided to take off running. We have a good solid offensive line. You should be able to be back there and sit in the pocket a little bit and actually look downfield to see. If things started breaking down, then go ahead and run by all means. But he should be able to spread the ball around.
Jerrylee, what do you think? Can Jalen spread the love around enough for everyone to be happy?
Yeah. I mean, he's got enough talent there, man. There's no way that he's not going to be able to spread the ball. I mean, you got Quez over the top or Pascal too. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see him not being able to spread the ball. Them targets are big too, so I think it'll be good, man.
Yeah, listen, I think with all the talent, I think, not everyone's going to like I said before, I don't think there's going to be 3,000-yard receivers here. It's not going to work out that way. Like you said, everyone has their specialty. Monte's downfield. We got AJ eating up the middle with Dallas. Hopefully Quest can come through. Jalen Rager is a big question mark, but hopefully he could have a rebound season. Those are a lot of mouths to feed, and we're not even talking about the running backs yet. So, it remains to be seen. I think everyone's going to get their share. Some people might not be happy with it, but the point is, do we get the win at the end of the game? That's all that really matters. But I don't think this team has those divas on here to be all upset like that. But I don't think that everyone's going to get fed the way they should be, with the talent that we have. But that's an embarrassment of riches. That's kind of a good thing.
Can you go back to that comment about the
Which
Texans versus Titans is the biggest rivalry?
We got Coach back. What's good, Coach? Hold on, let me see. I did see that one before. Give me 1 second.
That's an interesting take, but I want to.
Nope. Hold on.
No, it's like
This
4
one right here.
ahead of that. There you go. I don't think so. I think that's more of like the city just hates the fact that they got the team and moved to Tennessee. I think that's one of those things, but even Coach can confirm this. The biggest rivalry is still Jaguars versus the Titans because they've been there for the longest time. Colts got shipped over from Baltimore, so that's one of those things too. But you got to think about like the rivalry goes back to the Fred Taylor, Eddie George days with the Titans and the Steve McNair versus Mark Brunell and them having pretty good defenses and the Titans and the Jaguars were always like they were good AFC teams back in the early 90s and you could still feel that rivalry. And I know because I'm a Jaguars fan. I'm just telling you like the Texans and Titans thing, that's more of like that dirt is beneath their feet at this point in time. Like they just shipped the team out and Houston is always going to be met for that. But they've Coach will tell you the Texans have been completely embraced by their new team. So they're not looking backwards, man. They've been totally looking forward.
Sir, if you heard that screaming, that's my child playing his game.
Oh man, I'd be excited too.
Respawn.
Damn it.
I will say this because I was able to spend some time in Houston. Shout out to people at Humble. But
what team do they need, man?
yeah, like when the Texans came down there, people in Houston were excited. Like they forgot the Titans. That was it. They're gone. The Houston Oilers are gone. That was a thing of the past. Bum Phillips and those days have gone. They were excited to get that team, especially when you seen that stadium, Reliant Stadium. That was state of the art at the time. That was the best stadium that came through. They had a lot of people coming through. They had a lot of a lot of fan base coming through. And at the time, they had the first pick. Even though David Carr wasn't the guy, that created a lot of buzz when that whole team came out. Then you had what was it? Andre Johnson. The city of Houston are all about the Texans and nothing else than the Texans. Like I said,
Hmm.
the Oilers are a thing of the past. I think they haven't looked back since what? Probably the third season since Tennessee was up.
Yeah,
That was
I could tell
then
you
I
when
haven't heard anything of a rivalry.
my stepmom, God rest her soul, she passed away a couple years ago. She was a big Houston Texans fan. They're not salty about the
All right,
Houston
God,
Oilers thing,
good.
them getting them and shipping out. Like that was greedy ownership and things like that. Didn't know what to do with the team. The next steps. That doesn't necessarily give a rivalry for the two sports teams. I'm telling you, it's Jaguars and Titans all day, and it's still not a big rivalry. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't even hate the Titans. Like I hate the Gators because I mean obviously I'm a Florida State fan. I hate the Gators like through and through. I saw some dude at the Starbucks drive-through not too long ago, and he saw the damn Florida State thing on my car, and he flipped me off, and I flipped him off. Like rivalry continues,
yeah.
brother. But I can't necessarily say that
I
about the
love you.
Titans. Like I don't hate Titans fans. Like they're cool to me.
Yeah, if anyone ever heard busting with the boys with Taylor Lewan, he says it. When those Titan players are going up against Jacksonville, that's their game. That's their rivalry.
Yeah.
When Jacksonville had Jalen Ramsey and all them, Blake Bortles, there was a good rivalry that came through. That team was giving Tennessee the business, and they haven't forgot it since. So there's that love hate relationship. Like the players are cool with each other, but when it's time to play, yeah, they're trying to beat each other up.
I
Yeah.
hate Dallas.
I mean, that's the rivalry right there out of all
Yeah.
rivalries, to be
Fuck
honest.
Dallas, man.
Well, let me get to coach. We lost coach for a second, so let me ask you a question and ask everybody else on the panel. With the plethora of talent that we have on paper, that now, do you think Jalen Hurts is going to be able to spread the ball around?
Um, not to everybody, not to everybody. Somebody, it's gonna be a point in the locker room at the start of the season where someone is going to come out and say that they're disappointed. Of course, you're not going to put it throughout the media. When you got a good running game, when Miles Sanders is healthy, I think he has a chance to be a top ten to 7 running back in the league if he can stay healthy. The problem is he doesn't stay healthy. Boston Scott is no slouch as well. So you got Kenny Gainwell, who's more of a pass catching wide receiver running back, but he can run the ball in spurts a lot. Then you got to deal with that. Dallas Goddard, you got to deal with him, even though he drops the ball a lot. But again, he makes up for it because he's to me he's like he makes a lot of tough catches, and he drops some of the simplest, easiest passes that you will ever see. You'd be like, damn, Dallas Goddard, you dropped that, and then you'll be like, golly, you caught that. He catches balls he don't supposed to catch, but he catches balls that he should have caught. He don't catch balls that he should have caught. So
What
again,
about that one off his shoe last year? Bounced off his shoe? Oh
he's
my
still a
god,
weapon,
dude.
though. Dallas Goddard is still a weapon you got to worry about. Devontae Smith is a 916-yard wide receiver. So you got him. You got Pascal. You got Pascal. He was good last year in yardage last year. And now you got AJ Brown. You got AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts guy and his brother. So again, a lot of mouths to feed. You got to go through the running game. They're gonna run the ball a lot like they did last year, and it's gonna be some frustration a little bit. But then again, due to you got this roster, the best offensive line. Of course, you're the quarterback. The quarterback is the most blame reflecting thing in the NFL. Same thing like in NBA. The point guard get a lot of flop. He's gonna get a lot of flop if things don't go right. I know the coaching is gonna be involved in this, but again, if you're not making the right plays, if you're not executing, you're out there throwing the ball away, not getting into the wide open wide receivers. They're going to put the flock definitely on the quarterback. So again, the coaching got to put these guys in the right situations and do whatever it takes for this team to win. What if you got to run the ball? If you got to keep running the ball because the team can't stop you, you do it. Like I said, you're just trying to win. You're just trying to win games. That's all you're just trying to do. Of course, somebody is not going to be happy about it because they're not getting enough touches, but you got to do whatever it takes to win. And now that this offense is better, Jalen Hurts is going to get a lot of flock if things don't go right. I mean, that's just what it is. Quarterback through the media get a lot of buzz, and he's the leader, and everything starts with him, quarterback.
Definitely, definitely, everything starts with him. Um, Let me ask you all this one question. This is the last question on Jalen Hurts, and this is something that I'm just saying if he can be. So I'm not saying that this year necessarily, maybe in the next couple of seasons. Do you think Jalen Hurts can be a top 10 quarterback? I'll start off with you, Jerry Lee.
Oh, absolutely, man. The sky's the limit for this guy. I mean, anybody could be a top 10 quarterback if they put in the work. You know what I mean? Well, these guys anyway, in the NFL. You know what I mean? The guys that have made it. Not anybody could be a top quarterback. But anyway, yeah, I think he can. He got the work ethic. I think he'll do it.
Key, what do you think? Can Jalen be one of the tops?
Oh my god, he's irking my nerves right now. Sorry,
Put him on pause.
screaming.
These fur babies is making you go crazy.
He's playing Apex. Okay.
So that was your kid again. I thought that was a
Yeah.
dog.
No.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I think he can be like if he stays on a productive trait. If we just put the scheme around him to make him successful, and he does that, I definitely think he could be top 10. He definitely could be top 10. He has the motive. He has the worst ethic. He has the capability of being a top 10 QB.
That was good. Dante, what do you think? Can Jalen Hurts be a top 10
Somebody horn
quarterback?
going off.
Can he be a top 10 quarterback? That's a loaded question. As a lot of these questions are. You ask really good questions, Vic. So with the skill set that he has, and from what I've seen from him, yes. And I think out of everything, Jalen trusts the play calling first, man. Like, it just is what it is. And I understand a lot of people are like, oh, he needs to spread the ball around more. But, like, really and truly, it's just like, if you've never played quarterback before, I'll give you two things that you don't determine. You don't determine the reads. The play calls come down to that. Unless it's just somebody that's clearly open that you see. You trust the play calling first. The other thing is your 3, 5, 7, 9 step drops. Those are all determined before the plays when the play is called. Like, it's not I'm just going to decide to drop back 3 times and throw the ball. Unless there's pressure in your face or something, you got to get the ball out. That's the only time that changes. But can he be a top 10 quarterback? With his skill set, with the offensive line, which is a very big part of that. If you have not, go see my video on Drew Lock. Like, people give Drew Lock a whole lot of hell, but that dude was forced to throw the pass within 2 seconds every single time that he's played, which is terrible, man. Everybody would crumble under that pressure, so let's take a step back. But yeah, man, I think the offensive line outside of the weapons, I think you can make anybody good if you're a good enough quarterback. These guys are pros for a reason. So taking wide receivers away, I still think he can be. Do I think he's going to do it this year? I don't think he's going to do it this year. I think next year is when we can start having the conversation, depending on the trajectory of it. But really and truly, any of these guys can. But I think he's in one of the better. I don't want to say scheme fits. I got to see what they do again this year with the small sample size that we saw with Nick Sirianni last year. But if you're talking about,
He got the weapons.
yeah. If we're gonna go play backyard football with those weapons that he's got, man, and he was on a free for all, he could probably be top 5, and that might be a hot take, but he could definitely be a top 5 if you really design everything around him and help him trust the play calling. I always go back to that Dallas Goedert situation where they're like, why didn't you throw to Dallas Goedert? He was wide open. And he sat there in that press conference and explained everything that was involved with that play call. Like, people need to stop thinking that, oh, the dude was wide open. It's not about that at the end of the day. But that's up to Nick Sirianni to say, 9 times out of 10, Dallas Goedert is going to be open. So look for him first before you look at these other guys. So that you might see that transition this year where it's like, oh, dang, that play call did work. Let's try to run that instead and have Dallas as the primary. But, yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I think he can be. I don't think it's this year, though.
Good stuff. Coach, what do you think? Can Jalen be a top 10 QB?
I mean, ECG said it perfectly. His skill set will probably actually, with the players that he got now and the weapons that he got now, and by him being as skillful that he is, reminds me a lot about this guy. I mean, on my very own, used to be Watson. What makes him different is his ability to escape out of the pocket and his ability to play make. When nothing is there, his legs alone makes him dangerous. But the difference, Watson is a better passer. But I think bringing in AJ Brown and already having Devontae Smith and Goddard, that's going to help Jalen Hurts out a lot during the passing game. That's going to help him be a little bit more accurate out there. So his skill set and him being able, you can run sometimes a lot of RPO with. You can run RPO with it, which is that works in his game a lot because he can use his legs. He'll be able to read. He'll be able to read the defensive end coming off the tackle. He'll be able to read that. And by him already can get out of jams. The only thing I question, the decision making, it doesn't trust his arm a whole lot. If he does, that's what you bring in AJ Brown them for right there. And that's what AJ Brown them is going to help him be a better decision maker. They're going to be able to bail him out on certain plays and stuff like that. But he's definitely got skill set, the right skill set, the perfect to me skill set to be a top 10 quarterback. So everything ACG said, I mean, he said it all for me, man. He got the right skill set to be a top 10 quarterback in the league.
And Paul, he doesn't throw the deep out, the back shoulder sideline pass or the seam route well enough. Well, you can't do that when you run an RPO scheme 70% of the time. This is such a small sample size. The best thing I can relate it to is just go watch him at Oklahoma. He threw every single one of those passes. I mean, a lot of people say, "Well, that was college and this is the NFL." It's still football. It's still the best level of football that you can get a sample size on for a quarterback outside of the NFL. So, if you want to see how this is the perfect answer to the question right here for you, Vic. Can he be a top 10 quarterback? If Lincoln Riley was his coach at Philadelphia, he would be a top 5 quarterback.
Guaranteed. As a quarterback coach or head coach?
As a head coach.
Woo!
If he was the head coach or our offensive coordinator, as long as he was running the offense, Jalen Hurts would be a top 5 quarterback. I have no doubt in my mind. He did it.
I kind of would have to agree with that because do we really need to see him in RPO? Nick Foles was a perfect person for an RPO only because he wasn't that mobile or whatever, and it worked for him. Jalen Hurts he can be mobile, but let him use his arm. Why do we have to see him in RPO majority of the dang on passes? That's why it's so predictable. Defensive know what they're going to do.
Yep.
So just to answer that, Paul, Jalen is working on that because one of the reasons why he went to Southern California was to work on his footwork and his mechanics. And a lot of the problems that he had with his footwork his feet were set too wide. So when he's throwing the ball, he's not going to get all that he needs to get it downfield. That's one of the things he's been working on. So you're going to see Jalen throw that ball deeper more accurately coming this season.
There's a video out there that it was kind of like the Tim Tebow thing. And I was like, this is really weird. And I had to go back and watch it. Go look up the clips of him playing at Oklahoma. He has the same throwing motion that he does right now that he had reworked on. Somebody changed his throwing motion while he's been in Philly. It's really weird because people are like, why would he throw such a wide stance throw like that? Or why is he was throwing like a pro in college.
That's Brian Johnson for
I was about to say it right now. That's 2 words, Brian Johnson. That's the guy that I've had an issue with the whole time.
Brian Johnson is a freaking idiot because Jalen Hurts was awesome, man. Jalen Hurts was awesome at Oklahoma.
And now kind of bring up that ECG say about the coaching part, you running. You was not. If they run the ball from the start of the year, they're gonna definitely be solid compared to last year. Because remember when I said it takes a lot of when you're running the ball down people and wearing people out, it takes a lot of life. It rests Jalen Hurts' arm. That way, you don't have to throw the ball 40 times. See, that was the problem last year. Now, that's coaching. When you study throwing the ball 40 times and trying to outscore people and knowing you don't have the personnel or the receiving corps to even do that, that's coaching right there. But now he realized you got a running game, you got A.J. Brown, and you're going to use the running game a lot because you got the best offensive line. So now Jalen Hurts' arm has a lot of life. He can throw some of those deep balls, and he should be able to make some of those easy throws now.
Well, one of the issues that that we're kind of facing Jalen Hurts were a lot of people saying the play calling, and that leads me to my next question: what do you all think of the fact that Nick Sirianni has handed play calling duties over to Shane Steichen? Coach, I'll start off with you.
What was the question again, my boy?
What are your thoughts on Nick Sirianni handing off the play calling duties over to OC Shane Steichen?
I mean, like I say, I don't think much of it at all, man. Like I say, I don't really care who called the plays as long as he put these guys in the right situation to win games. As long as he put Jalen Hurts in the right situation where he can be successful. And like I say, use your bread and butter. Don't go away from your bread and butter. The run game is your bread and butter. You got the best offensive line in football. You wear people out with the run game, and then you use Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goddard to your advantage after that defense is worn down. Because again, you got to expect the defense is going to want to stop the run first. But like I said again, when you're running the ball, that's going to open up a lot of play action, and that's going to open up the field a very lot, and that's going to kind of force the linebackers, to come up a little bit, So again, you're going to have a lot of mismatches in the slot as well. That's going to only help. That's going to only help Jalen Hurts out a lot if James Dyke just basically use the run game. But like I say again, he just got to put Jalen Hurts and these players in the right situations, man, in the right situations. And it's going to be on James Dyke. So again, I don't, like I say, I don't care about the switch. It's just you got to put these guys in the right situations to succeed, man.
Yeah. Dante, what do you think about the coach, handing over the duties to the offensive coordinator?
It's a good move. I'm always a big proponent of handing off some duties, man. Like, I mean, think about it. Again, being a manager or being the head of something, you have to know how to delegate evenly, because not only is it empowering for the person, it also puts some of the responsibility on them to put their money where their mouth is, right? I mean, you see, all of us here have seen it with our managers or with our bosses. Like, hey, you have to do X, Y, and Z because this is your job. When somebody wants to take everything all on themselves, like Jerry Jones, who wants to be a GM and an owner, when you want to take all that responsibility, now you got to deal with all the
Failure.
backlash from you got the failure. The cap on failure is much higher too, because you should be trying to delegate or give responsibilities to a lot of other people and trust that they're in a position to be able to do these things as well. And also, it's giving them the confidence that you trust them on what they're trying to focus on. As a head coach, your job is to delegate. This
Mhm.
is my scheme. What do you think we should do with the players that we have? Oh, this is what I'm looking at as the offensive coordinator, and these pieces, I want to move these guys here. Why do you want to move these guys here? Because of X, Y, and Z. All right,
Mhm.
let's try it. How is this going to fit in my scheme that I want to run? Cool. You got that? Now do the play calling. These are the situations that I want you to do your play calling in. As long as you know situational football as far as the play calling goes, call whatever plays that you want. I trust you. That makes you a stronger team. Everybody talks about this brotherhood thing. Like, yes, players, 80% of the game is dependent on how they play. The other 20%, which is still a lot, the other 20% is the play calling and how well these players are going to play in the scheme, right? So you have to empower the people that are around you. And the reason why people hate on other organizations like the Colts and the Ravens and things like that, which I think those are top tier organizations by the way that they do things. Like Ravens are the perfect example. Everybody knows what's his name is going to run 70% of the time. And guess what? People can't stop it. So what, and John Harbaugh is not, he doesn't call the plays for the Ravens. He lets his offensive coordinator take care of those things. So that's why he's been a coach for so long. He empowers the people that are around him to make the right decisions, and it makes them a top tier organization because of that. It starts with the CEO and it goes down to everybody else. They make a winning culture for themselves. So I personally like the fact that you empower your offense and defensive coordinators to do their own play calling, as long as you give them a direction that says, does your play calling fit within my scheme? Cool, we're all good. You know?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of delegation myself too, man. I really think him handing off the reins. I mean, they did it last year, so I mean, it's not a really big difference. But he's still gonna, Sirianni's still gonna, make the plays and stuff. It's just when they're gonna call him and whatever. So
If your staff does well, it makes you look good.
yeah,
It makes you
absolutely.
look better than if you took the reins on everybody, because you know what they're going to say and what your boss's boss will say. You took all that responsibility on your own and you're shining. Do you really need all the rest of these team members? Because you're
Yep.
doing it yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes
you're
you
paying
look
too
even
much,
better
yeah.
if you can delegate and manage people,
Yep.
man. It's just
Well, it's good to delegate, but not to micromanage. We've seen a lot of
Exactly.
micromanagement out of Doug Peterson. But I think with Shane Steichen, I think this was necessary. But Key, let me get your thoughts on this move.
Finally, you got an offensive coordinator. Let him offensive coordinate. Like last year, when we brought Shane in, I'm like, all right, I had to do my research. I'm like, who's this Shane Steichen that's going to be calling plays? Because that's what offensive coordinator does. And I'm like, oh, all right, he had the Chargers number 8 in offense. We already seen what he did to Justin Herbert and Eckler and all that. So I'm like, okay, he gonna do all right. And then we seen this bull crap. I'm like, then we found out that it wasn't Shane calling the plays, it was Nick. Now, when the running game and stuff started, it came out that, Steichen was calling them plays, and Nick let him, do what he did until we got to that Tampa Bay game when I think Nick took over the reins for that, because that was horrible. But now it's coming out saying that Siriann is going to let Shane take over the duties, which is good, because then you can sit back and observe. Do what the head coach is supposed to do. Observe, take notes. Somebody ain't doing right, messing up. You go address them. Hey, I gotta go back to remember the Titans. What did Denzel Washington do? He told his defensive coordinator to get his ass in this game, or something about, or I'm gonna change it. And then he said, I don't want to draw to gain another yard. We gonna blitz all night. And what happened? That defense went crazy. So this is what Shane needs to do. He needs to let his coordinators do what he does. If Gannon's not getting his ass in that defense, then do something. Whether you pull him, get somebody else in there, this is what your job's going to do. You have to trust them. So, Siriann, I need for you to stand back and look back and observe your crew to see what they do. If they mess up, then you step in and say, okay, I'm going to take over, or we're going to find somebody else to do it. But it's a good move.
Yeah, I'm with it 1,000%. I think it's going to help Nick Sirianni become a better coach. Like I said, it takes less pressure off of him. And we all know at the beginning of the season, Nick Sirianni was not the best at the play calling. He had to give up those duties for a reason. We were doing horribly. Shane Steichen had to literally come in and save the season for us. Nick had to have seen it and be like, you know what? Maybe I'm not best suited to call plays right now. Maybe in the future, just like other coaches have, they taken the play calling duties back. But right now, it's not for me. I trust Shane. Shane has got us, to the playoffs. Shane has got us to where we needed to be. And I think Shane can build off what he did last season. So it's best that he continues to call the plays. I think that's a good move. And it shows hubris on Nick Sirianni. It shows that, he's not all about, being the guy, doing everything on his own. He knows that, sometimes you got to ease up. Let other guys do what they did. Just like you said, let the offensive coordinator coordinate.
Yeah, the CEO is responsible for the vision of the team.
Yep.
The front office is responsible for enforcing that vision. The GM is responsible for putting the players that play on the team in the right position. The coaches are there to coordinate their coaches. And the coordinators are there to coordinate the players. Like that's how this should be. And it's not that complicated. But you have people that want all the power for themselves and want to make themselves look good. And I can tell you 99% of the time,
Jerry World.
Yep, yeah, exactly. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's too much. It's
Well,
too
you
much
saw
for
what
one
happened
person.
with Chip Kelly. Wanted to be head coach and GM duties. That you saw how that went. That was a disaster.
You still see what's going on with the Patriots. The Patriots have the highest payroll in the NFL. Do you think they have the talent to justify that? No, and that's all Bill Belichick. He's a great coach, horrible GM.
Same thing in Houston. Bill O'Brien was a horrible play caller, horrible
Oh my
GM,
God.
just horrible everything.
Oh yeah, he's horrible. If you let go, if you trade
He
him
hopped for a second round pick.
for
He traded him for
Eminem
Bobby
CD and
Cereal.
some candy.
We traded him
Him,
because
And that,
M&M
box
and
of milk
candy
away.
is what he traded.
yeah, that was wild. But let's move on to some national news now, although it deals with the NFL. This week, Jack Del Rio was in the news. Apparently, he had some comments. The Commanders' defensive coordinator compared, the George Floyd protest to the June 6th insurrection by calling it a dust-up. You know what I mean? I'll read what he said. He said, people's livelihoods are being destroyed. Businesses are burned down, no problem. And we have a dust up in the Capitol. Nothing burned down, and we're going to make a major deal. I just think it's too kind of standards. Let me just start off by saying to Jack, it is too kind of standards. Because when you see that insurrection that about a president who wants to stay in power and did everything he can to manipulate people to take over the capital of the United States, yeah, I would say it's double standards because I don't really see much going on that end. Some people got some jail time, but if that would have been anyone with my skin color, I would have never made it to the gate. I'd have been
Done.
taken down from the beginning. But yet, when you see what happened with George Floyd, it was people frustrated, couldn't take enough of it. Cops were just killing people left and right because of they just wanted to. They had the right to because they felt they had the right to because they were going to get in trouble. And let's be honest, most of them still don't get in trouble. People
You're
couldn't
right.
have it. They couldn't have enough. And yes, there were some idiots out there that wanted to loot and do things, and that looks bad. But that's on them. They'll have to live with that. But to compare the two and say one was a dust up, that's an ignorant comment. But
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. I'll let y'all handle it. Jerry Lee, what did you think about Jack Del Rio's comments?
That's stupid. Like, yeah, I mean, those are some different things there, man. I mean, someone trying to take over the capital, that's pretty big, man. That's different. That's no dust up. That's like, that's some serious shit right there. you know, I don't
It's
know. It was a
super
stupid.
serious, man.
Yeah, it's a stupid comment, man. He should have never said that.
Key, what are your thoughts?
Um, like just be careful what you write because it's always gonna come in some way somehow. It's always gonna come back and haunt you. You have to be careful what you say. And that George Floyd situation was very very critical time in the U.S. It's one of the reasons why do you think Kaepernick did what he did? It's not because he did the whole thing is, oh, he's disrespecting the military. He's not disrespecting the
No.
military whatsoever. This is what he kneeled for. This just right here with the George Floyd situation and anything else that happened because of this. And now we had these whole gun laws and babies died and stuff like this. This for this point right here. When is it going to be enough? And for him to say what he said, that's just crazy because like you said, Vic, if it was your color, my color, we wouldn't even been able to set our toe on what on ground. So it's
Yep.
just
Shit, if it was me, you
so
know what I mean? My
so
ass would have been hit too.
so it's
Shit.
just like it's just crazy. Like good he got fined. He deleted comments and it's like I said, you can't now you just can't say that. You just can't say things like that no more. It ain't back in those days where it was okay, but now this society and world is totally different now. Things is happening that shouldn't be happening, and that George Floyd thing was critical. If you
Yeah.
can imagine if them charges from them cops didn't go how they do, this country still would be in the uproar right now.
It
So,
still is.
and granted, it still is, but we know the right people. At least the justice system did its job that day. So this country still got a lot of shit to take care of, a lot of things to change. Will it ever change? Who the hell knows? But that topic was just crazy.
And whatever happened during the riot, it is what it is. But if it wasn't for that riot, I don't think that pressure would have been put on them to file through with those charges. But Dante, let me get your thoughts on Jack Del Rio's comments.
I thought it was stupid. It was idiotic. But again, like I say, George Floyd. I mean, you even had when I was playing 2K, you even had some of his stuff on the game, even on the game. That's how much respect that George Floyd had. And again, like I say, my grandma always told me, you burn that bridge, you're gonna have to cross right back over. And Jack Del Rio definitely gonna have to cross right back over sooner or later. I just thought everything was stupid and idiotic of Jack Del Rio to come out on that. And again, just sad how George Floyd had to go out. But again, just stupid for Jack Rio to be saying, man.
Yeah, definitely. It was an ignorant comment, but Dante, let me get your thoughts on Jack Del Rio's comments.
I mean, I never like to get political, but if I had to
Of
give
course.
my, if I had to give my opinion on everything, like I don't like the fact that I'm trying to be careful with my words here. Freedom of speech is a thing in this country, right? But I'm all about when you work for somebody that is not your own business, when you work for a team and you have that much of a pool. Jack Del Rio's been a coach in the NFL forever. Your words mean a lot more than you think that they do. Regardless, if we agree that his opinion is right or wrong, I'm all about having freedom of speech. A dude said what he said, even if we think it's idiotic. It is what it is. Words never killed anybody. But at the end of the day, you represent an organization that is on the forefront not only of a losing culture with a lot of other things that are going on right now that are astronomical, from having a owner that is well hated, that is doing some terrible things, to not only have a losing team, not only bringing Carson Wentz, who's already controversial, and like you have a lot of controversial things going on, and you
Mm.
did not add on to and the stadium, all the crappy things that happen to the fans at the
Oh
stadium right
man,
now.
swimming in
Like,
poop.
yeah, I mean, literally, he's not in a great situation to even give any type of comment about anything. You're representing more than just yourself. And at that point in time, yes, do I agree with the fine? Absolutely. Because you need to live within the confines of the organization. I can't just go out in the middle of nowhere and say the organization that I work for is complete trash. I hate our vision. I hate my job. Blah 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 blah. If somebody was to find out on social media, I'm sure my boss is going to talk to me about it. And be like,
Fired.
look, you can't just go around and bad mouthing your place of employment. If you really hate it, you shouldn't be working here. Might as well. I'm gonna do your move. See you later. You know what I'm saying? Your words carry more weight when you're representing somebody else than if he was just doing something on his own. If he was on a podcast or something like that, I don't think he would have caught so much hate by saying what he said, especially if it was like on a political podcast or something. But since
Right,
you were sitting there in a interview wearing reds or wearing Commanders colors at
man.
the organization, you messed up double time, sir. So
Yep.
Yeah,
the fine and all that stuff, you just sometimes, just like coach said, and his
wrong time
grandma
and
said,
wrong stage.
my grandma said, you gotta reap what you sow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, wrong
And
time
you
and wrong stage,
and you
man.
got to read the room, man. Like
Yeah,
all of us here,
for
you
Definitely.
sure,
have to read the room, and
for
he did
sure.
not read the room. He let
Let
his
me just
emotions
get
get
this
the best of
comment
him.
because I think Paul makes a good point. When you look at the locker room, you have about 85% of the locker room being African American. And for me, if I'm a player and I hear my coach says that, I'm going to question you. Like we're going to have a conversation because I'm not really digging you what you're saying right now because that tells me that you have other feelings that you haven't discussed in front of me. Because I don't like that you're cool with me in my face, but behind my back you might be saying some other thing. That's someone I'm not cool with. So we're going to have this conversation if I'm a player on the team.
For
Hmm.
sure.
That's it. Yeah, and that's a great comment because again, you're in a leadership position, and we already know. Talking about politics is not like it was back in the day. It divides us at this point in time because it has so many things are operated around it. Now, you guys will never know my political beliefs because I don't talk about politics. You guys will never know Don's political beliefs. And I can tell you right now, me and his political beliefs, and because we're close, we talk about this sometimes, but our beliefs are opposite of each other. And because we're grown adults and grown ass men, we can agree to disagree and move on. I
Mm,
cannot necessarily trust anybody else to take how I feel about something as not offense to them, right? I
right.
feel a certain way about the Kaepernick and the George Floyd and the Jack Del Rio comments. I'll have my opinions around that. But at the end of the day, it's small things to a giant, man. Like, I don't like making people feel uncomfortable that are not only my friends, but my colleagues or people that I associate myself with. I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. And neither, if I'm representing a company, I don't want it to make the company seem like they're a certain way because I represent them as well. Like you have to separate these things in your life, and with that being said, it's like it's small things to a giant, man. It wasn't that hard just
Time
to
and
keep your mouth
place.
shut about something political
Yeah.
and just move
Time
on.
and place, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get back to other news. We all discussed it. I don't know if you all think the fine was appropriate. I think it was like $100,000 fine. For me, if I'm Coach Ron Rivera, and you have to understand, Coach Ron Rivera is the only Puerto Rican coach in the NFL. One of the few Hispanic coaches that are ever in the NFL. So to hear that comment from one of your employees, again, that's a conversation we're going to have.
Causes
I
a
don't think
rift.
I don't think the fine was enough. I would have thought a suspension would have been something they should have handed down to show that they mean business. But everyone else has their opinions on what it should be. But I
It
don't think
never
that
happened in that organization, Vic.
what was that?
It would never happen in that organization.
True. It's just sad to hear that people still have these ignorant takes and not really fully thinking about what they say before they say it. Like Dante said, you do have the freedom of speech, but there are also consequences of repercussions to the words you say.
For sure.
It's a very thin line. It's a very thin line on what freedom of speech means.
Yeah. Oh, you can say it, but that don't mean it's right.
Yeah. Don't mean that people are going to agree with you, and it doesn't mean that people are going to agree to disagree either.
Right.
So
it doesn't mean that
watch
people,
what you say.
Yeah.
What was that old saying back in the day? You don't ever discuss, what was it, religion, politics, and something else?
Yeah.
Like people totally forgot that, and they just let the media manipulate. Like I've never known so many people that are interested in politics. 10 years ago, you wouldn't give a damn, but now everybody's into it. Like if you ain't running for office, or if you're not really right now concerned on who you voting for, don't talk about it. It doesn't matter. Like there is no politician looking out for you. Calm down.
And Key, you'll probably agree with this, and a lot of us have significant others, and I'm taking this from a woman's perspective here because I've heard it thousands of times. It's not what you said; it's how you said it.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Oh, I get that mostly every day.
Oh, I know. Yeah. But that's how it is, man. It's not what you said; it's how you say it, man. And because
how you meant it too.
and because we don't know. Yeah, exactly. And because we don't know like people personally, you can only assume certain things about the person. And assuming, everybody knows what assuming does.
Yeah.
Makes an ass out of me and you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I don't know Jack Del Rio personally. He might be like this whole Black Lives Matter like expert behind the scenes, but because he said what he said, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah. Now it's like we automatically assume that you're not, that you're that other guy.
Right. And I seen him backtracking. He was like, you got to open up the discussion. But the discussion should have been had before you made the comment. That's how it works. If you have a question, ask it in private. Don't ask it nationwide. But going on to other news in the NFL, let me get your thoughts, Coach Dante, specifically you, because you're from the Houston area. You know what's going down there. You hear more news about it than what we would up here. What are your thoughts on reports surfacing about the Houston Texans' involvement in arranging 66 massages and booking the hotel rooms for Deshaun Watson? Woo! These are some allegations.
Disgrace.
True.
I don't think
it look good for the Texans.
To be honest, I don't look into that. I look into more on the field. I don't care about the off the field part. And plus, Deshaun Watson not a part of this organization anymore. So my last, I'm like I say, once a player is gone, I'm for the team. I'm for this team, not the player that used to be on this team. I'm focusing on the guys that's on the football field, not the allegations. The Texans and Watson, they're gonna handle that issue on the other side, but I'm more focused about the team more than the guys that are out there on this field in this upcoming season, more than I focus on the off the field issues and stuff like that. But
these are some serious allegations, because if you focus on the team might be in some trouble. But, Dante, let me get your thoughts on this new report coming out on the Texans.
I mean, I'm gonna just keep it 100% here. It's not illegal to get a massage.
But hold on.
What about the happy ending?
But let's be honest. They can't take that stance of ignorance, like they didn't know what was going on.
Rub
They
and
can't
tug.
take that stance.
It was in his contract.
That's even crazier. Who put
Oh,
that in their contract?
They'd be like,
puts
man,
Robin
well,
into the contract?
I guess our quarterback is going to be well rested and everything's going to be good by game
well
time. My man
loved,
ain't going to be sore
well
at
loved.
all.
He can be well
But
loved.
I'm always a proponent. I'm taking a step back, like, until that man has been proven that he did something bad, regardless of what all these, females have come out and said about him.
Yep.
I'm one of those ones that I take a step back and I wash my hands of the situation. Now, if it comes out and says that, he did all this other stuff outside of those 66 massages and all of that, then yeah, he's a piece of shit. I mean, like, straight up. But
Come on, man.
I don't know that yet. I don't know that yet. So
He's a sexual predator, bro. Come on.
hey, I mean,
That listen, I don't. For me,
How many other women were there really that didn't even
I'm gonna
step
be
up?
honest with y'all. I really don't understand this. For me personally, I don't get it. You are a millionaire, a 20-year-old millionaire. You wasting your time with this? For
Go
real?
to Bunny Ranch, Amsterdam, man. Come on.
Yo, swipe right, swipe left, swipe,
You know
my guy. You don't need them swiping on you. Swipe or no swiping. You know what I mean? Comment down. I don't understand it. I really don't get it. Maybe it is something that is mental, because that could be a sickness. I don't know. But you're going to risk your whole career for a massage? And at that, you put it in your contract. Who asked for that? When did you think that was a good idea to put in? Like, I think to me, that's just wild.
the Texans are definitely
women?
going to get in. They're going to have some involvement in this now. Like, you can't pull back on that, because they're going to look at it as you're enabling a weird situation, even though it was probably done out of good faith. Like, oh yeah, you like massage, whatever, yeah, we'll put it in your contract. But then you look at the tab, you're like, dang, 66, bro. Really get a girlfriend, dog. Like, at this point in time, like, you could have had this all taken care of. But like, again, I don't know, and
$230 million. You could have bought a girlfriend.
exactly. I mean,
It's just creepy, my guy.
No order
Like,
prides are out there, my guy.
that whole situation of asking, like, nah, fam, like, it's weird. It weirds me out. I don't get it. But Key, let me get your thoughts. Do you think Houston could possibly get in trouble for this?
Who knows? We've talked about this in the chat before. I've said all this free ass out here. Guys, like, come on, it's just crazy. It's just crazy and mind-boggling. Like 66. That's just a weird number. Like, I can see one or two. 66.
They said my man was spread open like this tripod. You know what I'm saying?
Regardless what happens, he still has $230 million. I mean, that's guaranteed.
That's a hell of a name list, man.
So, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, Baltimore has got something to look after, because I've been hearing that they might let go Baker Mayfield. They might release him. Then we're going to be up Shit's Creek, because let's say Deshaun don't play, Baker's going, Jacoby Brissett's going to save the day. It's just a crazy situation that's going on with Deshaun Watson, and you just like, not Deshaun. He wouldn't dare do anything like that.
Yeah, after the work done thing, paying for a house for his family and all that, it's like, imagine how Warwick's feeling right now, bro. Like, are you serious, brother? But then, then again, if you look a little deeper into the case, because I get into the wormhole with these things, there's been transcripts and stuff that have been leaked that you can go look up that actually have the women come back and say, hey, are you going to be in town? Remember last time we did this? Like, multiple of these 24 women have come out and said this.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying that is right or wrong, but that would have been a single mom with 4 kids. Come on, you really think she's gonna turn that down? If she gets
you got $1 million on the table, you're gonna do what you need to do. You're gonna turn some butter.
Yeah, but then also, I don't think that it's right that even if you were, you should have said something when it happened.
NBA spells money.
But that's you know what, Jerry, that's a good point. That's another thing that I forgot. The Texans also provided the NDAs. Yep. So you're telling, like, again, you had knowledge. You cannot claim ignorance on this. The Houston Texans cannot. They knew what they did. They thought it was something that, I don't even want to say like a freebie. I don't want to say nothing like that because I don't want no guns. But again, you knew what it was. Now, what Paul did say is true. It is on how he treated those women while they were there. Because if he made them feel uncomfortable, that's another bad look. That's borderline. We're talking about you forcing someone who thinks that you're in a position of power. If they don't do that for you, maybe they feel like there's some consequence. I don't know about me. I'm not a lawyer, but I know there's something illegal about that.
I don't know, man. That's just crazy.
The whole situation is weird.
It is, dude. It is.
Like I said, I really truly do not understand it. Like, just for a man himself to be in that position, to be like, that's what I do. There's other ways.
Man.
There's other ways to get it done. If
dude,
you don't feel that confident in yourself, take some time out.
Man,
Focus on it.
Deshaun Watson ain't a bad looking guy either. You know what I mean? Like he can get a woman. You know what I mean? So I don't know what's behind it.
Though.
Huh? What's that?
I said that boy hairline.
Hey, it ain't like LeBron or KD. They're holding on to dear life to their hairlines.
Bro.
I don't know. He be pushing back some other hairlines too.
But let's take the focus off the Houston Texans because we all know what's going on with them. They have their issues. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. Why didn't the Browns do their due diligence and investigate, figure out what the whole situation was with Watson before they traded for him? Just like he said, we're $230 guaranteed.
Or maybe
JerryLee,
they did.
Go ahead. Dante, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, maybe they did do their due diligence and they just, stuff comes out. Like,
You're going to tell me you did your due diligence when you knew only of 24 women coming up saying that he did something, while there is still 42 other women out there that could potentially ruin this. You're going to risk $230 million when you know you have 42 women that can still ruin this deal?
Apparently, there's something in his contract that says they can terminate it at any time. So, I mean, it's like this, Vic. It's like, okay, let's bring in this guy. We know what he did in 2020. He was probably the best quarterback that year. Dang, he's got these allegations on him. Dang, but what can we do to bring him in? Dang, we got to pay him. Okay, let's put in this contract something that, hey, if any of this comes out, we could terminate you right away and get our money back. You got to sell tickets and you got to, like Cleveland, Cleveland and Jacksonville, the two places people do not want to go play. Like straight up. That's why we had to pay Christian Kirk so much money. But I'm sure there's certain things in certain people's contracts that are like, and they already came out and said that like we could terminate this dude's contract if one of these claims comes back that's right, he's gone. So, I mean, does it look good for Cleveland as a whole that maybe they didn't do their investigation all the way? Maybe. But did they damn sell a whole bunch of damn jerseys and got the city excited?
Sure
Hell
did.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Because people forgot quick. Oh, man. Yeah, we got Deshaun Watson. It's all good.
Right now,
they sold some news. That's for sure.
But
they sold
one more
some papers.
allegation that thing crashes. Ooh, Cleveland is back to pre-LeBron days with that. And somewhere Baker Mayfield's smiling. Baker Mayfield is loving all
You like this, bro? How you like me now?
Let me get your thoughts on Cleveland and their, I don't even want to know what to call it. Their fumble, their inability of securing the fact that you're going to give someone $230 million and make sure that's a good investment. What are your thoughts?
Here's the soap.
It's nothing like having a good old cold Dr. Pepper, And I mean, when you like ECG said, obviously they knew something before those 42 other people came into involved. They knew something. They thought it was going to be all right. Well, you go back to look at the Miami Dolphins. The deal was done, but the Miami Dolphins knew something wasn't right, and it was a risk for them, so they didn't give up their picks. But now Cleveland, before they went to the playoffs with Baker Mayfield, their last good quarterback probably was, you look at Jeff Garcia and you look at Tim Couch, the two quarterbacks. I think they went to the playoffs with Tim Couch. I believe they went to the playoffs with Tim
Garcia,
Couch.
not with Couch.
Now we got one of them. I think they went to the playoffs with, and again, they slowly falling down the face of the earth. You give up the 3 first-round picks, not knowing it could also be a risk of also losing Deshaun Watson as well. But now you give them full $285 million, and now even though you're getting that money back, you can get your money back, but you can't get your future back. You can't get your future back. You already sold your future on just getting Deshaun Watson alone. Now you terminate his contract, you get his money back, but the problem is you still got Baker Mayfield who wants out because he did not know that they were going for Deshaun Watson. He did not know that they were going for Deshaun Watson. He came out clearly and said, I did not know that the team were looking at Deshaun Watson, so that hacked him out. Jacoby Brissett, he's all right. I think you can win a few games with him if you control one game, but they're not going to be as dangerous if you would have had Deshaun Watson. But now, like ECG said, man, it's got to be something that they really looked at, say, let's get this guy. If one of these allegations is true or a couple of them, then we can just terminate his contract right then and now. But again, you already lost your future. Now you got other things going on in the organization in the quarterback room. So again,
let me cut in here real quick. I don't think they thought that he'd probably get suspended either because it was looking good at the time when they got him. But now it's looking like he may not come back for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's 42 other women they did not think of.
They did not know that. That's why I
insane.
say that's a great point by ECG. They did not know the 42 other women was involved. They knew about the 24. They didn't know about the other 42 that just popped up that just popped up all of a sudden. Now they got answers. Now they lost their 3 first-round picks already. Then you got a quarterback issue you already got to deal with. It's just too many. What worse that can get with Cleveland? You trade Odell Beckham away, and he wins a Super Bowl immediately, which shows that Baker Mayfield couldn't get him the football. It's just funny, man. My bad, y'all. It just
so
broke down.
1994, the Browns went to the playoffs. Who do you think their quarterback was?
Wasn't that Garcia? Oh no! I was saying Testaverde.
It wasn't Tim Couch.
Yep,
I think.
Vinny
Testaverde, right?
Yeah, it was 2002 before the 2020. Who was their quarterback?
Tim Couch.
2002 was that was Couch's, I think, second year, but I think that was the Garcia year, right?
Nope. So they never went with Garcia. It was Kelly Holcomb was their
quarterback.
Yeah, because he took it off of Tim Couch. That's right.
Kelly Holcomb.
Oh my God, number 10.
Kelly Holcomb. Yeah,
yep.
Okay. Kelly Holcomb.
Wow.
Kelly Holcomb, and I think he had a good. He had a pretty good game.
Run.
Yeah, 429 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game.
They beat the Steelers.
All right, Kelly.
That's the game they beat the Steelers?
I don't know if they beat them or not. Hold on. No, they lost to the Steelers by 3 points, but that's when Tommy Maddox was the quarterback for the Steelers.
Okay.
Freaking Tommy Maddox, Lord, y'all are
Free
taking
Ben.
me back with
I thought he was a baseball player.
That's the XFL Tommy Maddox.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, man, that's hilarious. But Keith, I didn't get to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the Browns dropping the ball, basically?
They in Schitt's Creek right now, pretty much. Like, Baker don't want to be there. Y'all did Baker dirty. Y'all didn't tell him what was going on, so he went out. Now y'all coming in, bringing in Jacoby Brissett, who is serviceable, but you know Brissett is a backup. Now, unless they can't trade anybody, they don't got no money to trade nobody. There's a Jimmy G, but it's just you threw all your eggs in a basket for one guy. You gave you paid the house, the car, the kids, and the dog just to get Deshaun Watson, and now you gotta live with it.
I'm wondering if they thought about it from the beginning when the first 3 women that showed up and then 20 other women showed up. You know what I mean? Like when it first popped off, you would have thought they would have thought like, oh, there's more coming.
But my thing is, how did Cleveland not reach out to the Texans, and why weren't they open and honest with Cleveland, saying, "Hey, there's going to be an issue," but at the same time, they were trading, so that's probably why.
Yeah,
they were trying to acquire.
We won.
Hey, if you want them, hey, you can have them. We'll take it for 3 first round picks. You ain't got to tell you the information. You want them so bad, hey, you take them. But it's crazy. That lawnmower,
Say la
that
vie.
lawnmower broke down real quick. That lawnmower broke down real quick on Cleveland. That lawnmower just broke
Thank
down.
you. Well, let me ask the final question of the day. We've been on for over an hour and a half. And we're still on this topic though, but I'll start off with you, Jerrylee, and we'll just go around. Do you think Deshaun Watson will play this season?
No. No, I don't think so. I think he could get
Key?
suspended.
Ooh,
No,
Key, what do you
nope,
think?
no, nope, and no. It's a done
Dante?
deal.
I'm
Or
gonna
should I say the
say,
Dantes? Let's go with the
uh,
Dantes.
okay.
Go ahead, coach.
We'll go with both. We'll go with both. Either
Eating
or.
pistachios right now.
So we'll go
All
with Coach.
All right, so I'm gonna say now. I didn't rule out the possibility at first, but now all these allegations, man, you can't tell me all of these allegations and not one thing didn't happen. Not one thing really did not happen. I think really something actually happened, and he did something. But I'm gonna say no, he's not gonna see a football field. This will now be 2 years he haven't played a full played football. This is gonna be his second year in a row out. Second year in a row, definitely out. A full football. This is gonna be a second year in a row. Because he played in 2020. He played in 2020. So now this will make 2 years out.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun's been out longer than COVID. It's crazy.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I honestly don't think he's going to be able to play. Again, like I said, and I've been saying it, there are 42 other women that have yet to come forward. More news, more attention is put on this case, more are going to come out. No matter, there's not going to be a time where Deshaun Watson's going to have that ability, where he's going to have that window where everything's going to be fine, because there'll be another one coming up with a claim. So I honestly can't. I don't see him playing this year. I think
He may
they're
not
gonna-
even return back to the football field.
What was that?
He may not even return back to the football field.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's very true.
Coach said, if one of these cases go to trial and it goes against him, yeah, his career is over.
Well, he can't dedicate time to football because the team is going to be like, look, you need to take care of that. It's too much distractions for us. We'll figure it out. But we're going to put a clause in your contract that says we will not pay you any money until the things come back from, however this verdict comes out. I'm just saying right now, the advantage that Deshaun Watson has right now, and I'm, not to compare cases, but I can honestly say the Johnny Depp thing is a very positive thing for Deshaun Watson right now. Because you know why? Because he's a man. He won a case against a domestic violence situation.
Yeah.
So that kind of tipped the scales now evenly. And they're going to need to bring a lot of evidence in, because if there's no medical records, there's no pictures, there's no conversations, there's no anything like that, they're going to severely lose. Because they're looking at a lot of that. They're going to look at a lot of that evidence, and it's probably going to go before a jury too.
Well, a lot of it may not even ever see the light of day because the NDAs.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know
there's a lot of
NDAs have been broken. NDAs have been broken before.
Yeah,
we had that
probably a lot more on this
president and that porn
we don't
star.
know.
That NDA was all the way broken.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter, because if there was a wrongdoing in a situation, you can automatically void the NDA right away if there's some shady stuff behind the scene that you can prove. But again, that's the uphill battle that they're going to run into. Deshaun, you better hire them lawyers that Johnny Depp had. Bro,
Johnny Cochran, man.
They were some beasts, man.
That was a good point that you brought up, Johnny Depp, because this is the one thing I do have to say about Deshaun Watson. He should hope that none of these cases go to trial, because lawyers are not cheap.
No,
They cost a ton of money. And right now you have a contract that can be voided at any time. You don't have that $230 million yet. And I don't know how much you saved before, but I know a lot of that just went to the lawyer you just have now. You got to keep that in mind. These lawyers, they cost a lot. And after a while, you may not have enough money to keep it up. And if you don't, Deshaun Watson is on an island. He's all by himself. He has no one to help him.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson representing himself in contract talks with the Ravens and doesn't have an agent, which is very risky when talking contracts worth $200 million plus. TJ Watt already proved that a deal can get done. So I think.
Well, who was the one that recently did it this offseason when they were talking about? Wasn't that not Von Miller? Oh my God, Wagner, Bobby Wagner. He did his own deal, and everyone was talking about it. and it was just the
Because people-
incentives that were put in.
So
yeah,
did
they don't want an agent to take a cut of that anymore. They want to do it. They want
Exactly.
all the
Why
money.
you want
Yeah.
10 or 20% of your earnings given to someone who just signed a piece of paper?
Yeah,
I'm sure-
that cornerback. I'm trying to think. The cornerback from Seattle back in the day. What's his name with the long hair?
Sheldon. Sheldon. The
Somebody
one I
tell
just
me.
got arrested. I'm like, was it
Yeah.
Richard Jefferson?
Sherman.
Richard Sherman. That's a Jefferson.
Yeah, he did his own
Hey,
contract.
who the hell is Richard Jefferson, bro?
Jefferson for the Nets. You remember Richard Jefferson
Yeah, with the Nets.
with the Nets? That's how bald head. He said.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know basketball. No.
Oh.
I do know Richard Jefferson. Oh yeah.
With
I
the
do.
Nets.
I know.
Yeah. He's a TV analyst now.
Yeah.
But we've almost hit the 145 mark. I just want to say thank you all for coming through today. Like we said, man, it's been a while since we were on. I had to deal with some personal issues, some family issues, and some sicknesses because I'm still sick right now. It's ridiculous. Can't get over this. But everyone, please let them know where they can find you. Coach, I will start off with you first.
Like I say, thank you, man. Nothing like having a cold Dr. Pepper. Thank y'all so much. Y'all
I got fighting words for that, coach.
Thank y'all so much for having me on, man. Always an honor. My second time on the big ticket. Hope many more. It's gonna be many more. I'm not gonna hope it's gonna be many more times I'll be up on the show.
Definitely.
But man, shout out to ECG, Key, my partner, JerryLee, my boy Vick, my partner also ECG, my partners who all three of y'all, all four of y'all work with very well. Y'all can find me at Coach Dante 31 on Twitter, Coach Dante 31 on IG, and Coach Dante up on YouTube, and also Coach Dante at the Spotlight Sports Network. We're always grinding. Coach Dante East Coast Gridiron as well, man. So like I say, we do nothing but put in that work over there, and I put in that work every single day. My first official off day pretty much. I'm not doing anything today. I'll be on with Robert in an hour for just a show, but I won't be doing anything, cause I've been spent all night doing these, receivers lists, quarterbacks lists. I'll be up all night just working. So I'm not gonna be doing no streams today, but I appreciate you for having me on.
Definitely. Yes, we will be working a whole lot more. My guy, Dante, let the good folks at home know where they can find you.
East Coast Gridiron. Search it up. If you see the logo, it's recognizable enough. It's probably us. Nobody else has got the name, so we should be pretty easy to find. Find us on all the social medias. Vic knows I'm not the best at asking for people to like and subscribe. I'll just say, hey, if you like our stuff, like our stuff. If you don't, that's cool too. But we appreciate it if you did subscribe. We appreciate that more than you know. But yeah, Coach is part of this, and I had to make a comment about that Dr. Pepper, sir. Dr. Pepper tastes like flat soda to me. I can't get behind
drinking it when it first cracks open.
Nah, bro. I can't do it. Dr. Pepper and me just don't rock out like that. But anyways, yeah, man. Coach is now a part of us. Vic joined us not too long ago. He's going to be doing some stuff with us in the future. And shout out to Key on the panel, and Jerry's always been so welcoming every time I've come on the show. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming through.
Yes, sir.
Key, let everybody know where they can find you.
Oh, well, I'm not too hard to find, as my name says, and Key, and I'm always in the building. You can look me up on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Same name, Key in the building. Again, you can see me on the Spotlight Sports Network along with Dante every Tuesday nights for the 7,200 Seconds podcast show. So y'all don't want to miss that. And I'm always around because somebody's always asking me to do something. If y'all know, y'all already know what I do. So, but yeah, no. Always a pleasure coming on with Vic and Jerry, and I'm sure it's going to be many more.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate all three of you coming over. JerryLee, any final words for the people at home?
Yeah, definitely. You guys know you can find me here on the Big Ticket, and I got some new things coming up tomorrow. We got the Kelly Green Crew starting, and then Tuesday we got the Afterlife and Unknown podcast coming up. So come watch us on at 9 p.m.
Mr. Pibb. That's it right there.
Pib is awesome, man.
Pibb, I like
Hey,
Pibb
that's
better than
awesome.
Pepper.
That's awesome.
I get that. Hey, man, sometimes you ain't got to get the real brand. The generics are just as good.
Yeah, thanks
But
everybody in the chat coming in too.
Yo,
yeah,
I
man,
got some
appreciate
orange
everyone in the
Days
chat.
soda. What y'all know about Days drinks?
Oh, the root beer one too?
No, I don't get down root beer. I don't get down root beer.
What about Shasta?
That's what you get in the hospital. Them Shasta ginger ales, but they still good though.
Those are the
Yeah,
Shasta
ginger ale,
McNasties.
Hey,
Hey, listen,
look at
everybody
Sora
that
in
was
the
in.
chat.
What happened?
Sora's over here trying to make fun of the fact that I got a Florida State hat on, sir. You guys have like the ugliest mascots of all time.
Hey, but they did create Gatorade, so appreciate y'all for that.
I don't drink Gatorade. We do not drink Gatorade
Is
in
it
this
that?
house,
Is
bro.
the hate that deep?
It's
Is
that
the
my
hate
wife will
that
tell you,
deep?
bro. We do not drink.
He
If a
said I
Gatorade
got
touches this
Powerade,
house,
man.
bro.
This
Look how
all day-
ugly their mascots are, bro. Look at this. What is this? Look at her lips. Sora, get out of here, bro.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Hold on. Hey, but that's representation. Representation. What you know about that tomahawk chop? But
Bro.
everybody that was up in the chat, appreciate y'all for coming through. Everybody that's watching or will watch, I thank you for so much for taking the time out to watch us. Just talk football. Oh no. Lord have mercy. We're gonna end it with that. Everybody, appreciate y'all for coming through. Thank you so much. It's been another great episode of the Big Ticket. For my guy JerryLee, Key, Dante, and Coach Dante. Have a good one, y'all. We out.
Arvita Beats.